This is Clint of the Geek Dig podcast, and you are listening to the one and only BS Podcast Network.
Coming to you from the 15th floor of Aulani Disney Resort and Spa in Ko'olina, Hawaii, with the sounds of the Aloha Room from below. You're listening to the Magic Our Way podcast with your hosts, Kevin, Danny, Eli, and Lee. Enjoy. Mahalo.
Jumbo, everyone.
Harambe.
And welcome to another edition of the Magic Our Way podcast. Son, everyone! You are listening to the Magic Our Way podcast from New Orleans, Louisiana, in the United States of America. We are artistic buffs talking about Disney stuff. www.magicourway.com is where you can find us. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
And with us today, we have...
Show me the money.
Here comes the money.
Here we go.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
Hey, must be the money.
Money, 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 money. Show me the money!
It is Mr. I Know More Than Your Friends, Suck It Up, Tough Lovin', Ever So Lovely, Travel Agent for Magical Moments, Vacations, Mosquito Killing, Date Night at Denny's, Bend You Over the Chair. It is Mr. Beijing Chloe himself, Lee, DJ White Cheddar, No Hassle Vika. How you doing, Lee? And damn, your name keeps getting longer and longer.
I know, it's longer than my actual real last name, which is pretty damn long. But
we're gonna have to start signing off after his intro.
Yeah, I know. We gotta do some trimming here or something like that. Maybe use some abbreviations now.
Mosquito killing.
Mosquito killing.
It's cool out. There's no mosquitoes out there.
Yeah, it's done.
Yeah, that's true.
Date night at Denny's is still a thing, though. Just ask his wife.
Yeah, for real.
Absolutely.
Valentine's, baby. 2018, we're doing it.
I'm surprised Bucky Lovin' ain't going in there.
Oh, Bucky Lovin'.
Bucky Lovin'. That would be good.
There might be some Bucky Lovin' going on for Valentine's.
If you get that moons over my hammy, right?
Really?
Yeah. Well, as you can tell, Eli's not on this show. He had an emergency that arose at the last minute, so he wasn't able to record with us tonight. But
it sounds like everything's okay.
Yeah, everything sounds like it's okay. It's nothing dire or nothing catastrophic.
Right.
Nothing Mardi Gras related either. So he's good. No. And no fireworks burning his armpits. Either,
no, he's relatively safe tonight, from what we understand.
Yes, but tonight we do have a very special guest joining us today, all the way from the West Bank, the man from the Disney Nerds podcast. We have the one, the only, Jimmy Horn. How you doing, Jimmy?
What is happening? Thank you guys so much for having me on and screw a bunch of Mardi Gras traffic.
Damn, thank you. Amen. Because that's a pain in the ass. You know what's the worst is like when there's like North Shore parades. I live across the lake. Mm-hmm. And so when they have to like transfer their floats across.
Yes.
It's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the butt. Because they go so slow and it's not like you can really pass them.
No.
Immediately unless you get to certain points. But man, it's Mardi Gras traffic's no joke, man.
Oh, Mardi Gras is brutal for locals.
I live in West Bank and work in New Orleans East, so it's a miserable ride home when Mardi Gras is not here, but it compounds it times 10.
So that's your commute from New Orleans East to the West Bank? Usually?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
That hurts me.
Yes.
Yeah, I was actually supposed to be in town next week, and my contact out there was like, "Yeah, you don't want to come into town next week. Just push it back a week or so."
What, for Mardi Gras? They're expecting you to work during Mardi Gras?
Well, I mean, I'm going to work during Mardi Gras either way, but I didn't know when Mardi Gras was. I was just coming into town because I needed to do some work. And like I said, my coworker was like, "Yeah, you might want to wait a week or two before you come out."
Yeah, we could have told you that.
Yeah, all right, cool.
It's bad. But yeah, Jimmy, we're very happy to finally have you on the show. I know we've been talking about doing this, and I'm glad this actually worked out really well. so you can join us in our conversation here. So
Well, I wouldn't
thank
say
you.
it worked out really well.
Well, yeah. I mean, circumstances.
Yeah, we do hope Eli's family member is okay.
Yes, we do that.
It did work out well that we finally got Jimmy on the show because you've been talking about doing this for a while.
Yes. And
It's gonna. I can tell already. It's gonna be a blast.
yeah,
Yes.
man. We got our drinks here before us, and today what we're talking about is our reasons that the Hollywood studios does not suck.
Yes.
If you're longtime listeners of the show, hopefully that you caught your ear, and yes, you did hear that right. So we're about to get into it, guys. So enough of my jibber jabber. Let's go make some magic. And here we are on the hub, and as you heard from the introduction, we are talking about our reasons for why the Hollywood studios does not suck. Yes, you did hear that correctly. And if you are longtime listeners to the show, you probably got a little chuckle by hearing us say that. But Danny, you want to kind of explain what our goal is today?
Our goal today is to force ourselves to think a little bit outside of our normal thought patterns. I know we've gotten flack in the past from listeners of ours who do enjoy the studios, and we like to make little cracks here and there about the studios. And I feel like it's kind of gotten to a point where people think that we just hate the studios.
Right.
And no, we don't hate the studios. I mean, it's just where it's at and where it's been going for a while now has just not been our cup of tea. So because of that, we've expressed our displeasure with it. And I know to a lot of people, it's still their favorite park.
Yeah, exactly.
Or some second favorite park even. I don't see where that's coming from, but what we decided to do is instead of sitting here cracking on the studio some more, we forced ourselves to sit down and come up with reasons why the studios does not suck.
Yeah, why we like it or stuff like that, yeah.
And this was not pleasurable for us. That's what I'm trying to say. We forced ourselves to have to sit down because it is not easy to look at the park in its current state and say definitively, oh, well, this is a reason why it's great.
Yeah, to your point, it's like, it's not like we hate it. It's like if we as you've heard us, we rank the parks. And the studio's always usually MGM. I almost said MGM.
Yes.
But the studios usually comes out last. And if there's a park that we had to skip, that's usually the one that we're going to go with.
Yes, and it's not hate. It's more of an opinion of fact. It's just, it is what it is. And I think what we're driving at here, and you just said it, Kevin, with using the word MGM.
Yeah.
We used to love the studios.
Oh, yeah, it was one of my favorite parks. Absolutely.
It was probably my second favorite park. Back when it was MGM Studios, back before there was an Animal Kingdom. I was too young to drink at Epcot, too young to have any cultural appreciation.
But you could watch TV and movies for sure.
Going to the studios back then was something that you look forward to. The Great Movie Ride was all brand new. That was just an amazing piece of work. I mean, it was the first time you really saw people interacting with animatronics, and animatronics not of just nameless figures, but of famous people within the Disney theme parks. It really was a work of art. People forget how great the Great Movie Ride was when it opened.
It was great for a reason.
Yes. The Muppet Vision 3D was outstanding when it first opened. My favorite, and it broke my heart when I went back and I didn't see it anymore, was the Magic of Disney Animation.
Right. Yeah.
When I want to say the first time I went and saw it, they were doing work on, I want to say it was The Lion King. I might be wrong. But watching the animators at work, seeing that film with Robin Williams.
Walter Cronkite.
Walter Cronkite.
Awesome.
Back to Neverland.
Yeah.
And watching that film, that inspired me. Like, I wanted to be an artist. And by the time I got to the point where I was like, okay, well, I can apply to this, they had already shut down that portion of the studios and sent all the animation work out to China. But nevertheless, it did inspire me. And so, yeah, the MGM Studios was a great park. A lot of the attractions they had over there were something magnificent, and I think it was right up on a par. But little by little, as time has gone by, you've seen them chip away at what made the studios great. You've seen the studios lose its identity completely. You've seen them not update things, cling to old attractions that really don't fit. Indiana Jones doesn't fit anymore. But I don't know. I mean, point being is that we're getting a little away from it. But yeah, this all comes from a place of love is what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Is that we used to love MGM Studios.
I am glad you guys had me on this show because although I'm not I think even when it was, even before they started kind of taking it down, it was probably still only my third favorite park. But even in its current state, take Avatar out of Animal Kingdom and I still would go MGM or Hollywood Studios. Then Avatar is the only thing that puts Animal Kingdom above Studios in its current state in my mind.
Really? You see, now I would put Animal Kingdom head and shoulders above.
Without Avatar.
Without Avatar.
Okay.
Without Avatar Land. So what is it about the two put side by side that makes you say, okay, so you got a strong attraction in Twilight Zone Tower of Terror.
And Rock and Roller Coaster.
Rock and Roller Coaster. Okay, keep going.
And that's it.
Well, that's about it. But what do you have? You have only one in Animal Kingdom.
Well, I don't know about you got Expedition Everest, obviously. Okay, cool.
The big one.
Okay, Dinosaur. For Dinosaur?
Yeah, I like Dinosaur.
I love Dinosaur. A unique ride system. You don't really see that anywhere else.
I mean, it's still not as good as the Indiana Jones thing in Disneyland. I'll say that forever. But we have a version of that ride system on our side of the coast.
Right.
We're up to 1.5 because Dinosaur is not on par with, I would say Expedition Everest is on the level of Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster. Dinosaur is not on that level.
You see, now I would disagree because I think Rock and Roller Coaster, it's a great roller coaster, but it's a bunch of neon painted scenery. It's not really, you're not seeing. I mean, they've got a lot of animatronics. The theming I think is done better. I would say on Dinosaur, I would put Dinosaur above Rock and Roller Coaster. I know I'm probably, if you're just looking for a thrill element, sure.
I think you're on the island there, buddy.
I don't know. I think Kevin's,
I would, yeah.
Kevin's on Lawless Island.
Yeah, I mean, I like that ride system a lot. I thought it was very unique when Disney came up with that, especially when
you would put Dinosaur above Rock and Roller Coaster.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I would.
Weight definitely go against you.
Oh God, but tell me this. Okay, so what is there about Rock and Roller Coaster that you love? What do you see in that ride?
Well, going upside down 3 times is pretty damn cool.
Okay, so now we're just boiling it. So now I can go to Six Flags and get that same experience.
Well, that's true, but you can't go anywhere else in Disney and get that experience. So that's kind of separates it from anything else at Disney.
You see, but where I would disagree is that I would say that's why you go to Disney is that you're not going for those.
Right, but how many people go on vacation to Disney and want to go spend 2 days at Universal because Universal has the things like Rock and Roller Coaster that you don't see a lot at Disney?
Yeah, there's those people who do that, but I would say far and few between. I think most people go to Disney. I mean,
the quality of experience.
Right. You might go ahead and go over to Universal for a day so you can see Harry Potter, and those things are in and of itself cool. But I don't think you go there to ride the Hulk. I think you go in there to ride Harry Potter. I think you go in there to see Spider-Man. I don't know that you're necessarily going over there because you want to be turned upside down 3 or 4 times.
Maybe so. Yeah. That may be true.
It's a matter of opinion, obviously, but no, it's worth getting into because I'm always curious when we talk about that because I'm curious to see what it is. What is that line? Because I look at it, yeah, it's a great thrill attraction, but that's all it is. I'd rather the animatronics and the setting and the theming of Dinosaur because that puts you in a whole mood. And it gives you things that are actually there to see. I mean, you can close your eyes through Rock and Roller Coaster and pretty much have the exact same experience as you do with your eyes open. Well, in fact, most people do.
That's probably true. I would tell you, though, the Dinosaur is not a very long ride. And after you've ridden it so many times, I know exactly what to expect at every turn. Mm-hmm. It gets a little stale, too.
And that's true of most attractions. I mean, obviously, but I guess I just don't get there enough to have grown stale of Dinosaur yet.
Yeah, no, I'm the same way. I mean, for me, it's all about the ride system.
Now, I'll tell you what, you want thrills? What about Kali River Rapids?
I'm not a fan.
Not a fan of Kali River Rapids. My family loves that. We ride it every single.
Not a fan of being soaked in the park.
Yeah,
it's way too short.
Oh, it's brutal. Yes,
it's a long wait for the shortness of that ride.
It is.
That's my issue with it.
Once you're on there, wouldn't you rather the shorter experience? It's like waiting to find out who's gonna get soaked? I mean, because however that raft is gonna turn, somebody's getting soaked.
It's like Russian roulette, but
it is. It's Russian roulette in a raft.
Atlantis roulette or something.
The thing is like Splash Mountain, you could go on there and get a little bit wet, or you could not get wet at all.
Yeah.
Valley River Rapids, you're either going to be completely dry or you're going to be completely
soaked.
Yeah, there's no in between.
That's what we love about it. It's that whole idea of which one's it going to be. So, yeah, I get it. It is a short ride, and Grizzly River Rapids over in Disneyland is much better in that sense. But it doesn't take that sense of anticipation as, oh, my God, who's going to get it? Not knowing that.
I can tell you what, though,
fun.
as far as like raft ride systems like that, I'm glad Disney did it because, I mean, their theming just, blows everybody else's out of the water. I think.
It 5 minutes longer, it would be a fantastic. If the whole thing wasn't just who's going to get wet, if there was more of a story line behind it and it was a little bit longer,
I would agree with that.
I would enjoy it more.
That's what make the one out of Disneyland so much better. I mean, there's that whole storyline there. It's
couldn't
awesome.
agree more. Like there is a storyline.
Yeah,
but
yeah,
God help you to figure it out.
Yeah,
if you didn't read up on it, I don't know that you'd really figure out what the storyline is without reading up on it.
I can't tell you at the moment.
Conservation.
It's basically the cliff notes of the story.
Yeah.
Yes. It's the cliff notes of great raft rides.
But we're going to get sidetracked. If we could do this all night. And this one might be a fun topic to cover at one point.
Yeah, we'll have to get Jimmy back on just to discuss that. But
definitely.
We'll table that for another day. But we'll get back to the topic at hand. It's like, we're finding things that that we like about the studios, basically, to kind of bolster their point. So who wants to go first?
I would say, if it's okay, I'll go first.
Yeah,
sure. Go first.
Guest, please. You're a guest. Absolutely.
You're a guest.
So, reason Hollywood Studios does not suck, Baseline Tap House.
That's a very good reason. That was on my list.
I've yet to go, but I want to.
I have been.
That'll take me there for sure.
It is. I mean, it's such a great look. It's not an attraction, but it's such a great environment. It's very, very cool. I was a big fan of the Writer's Stop and quite enjoyed it. I'm happy with what they did with it. If I had to, in hindsight, I would trade the Writer's Stop for Baseline.
Ooh,
that's a bold statement.
That is a bold statement. I love it, and he's right. I would too.
Yeah.
I would just what I would do? I'd take the Trolley Car Cafe and I would merge
put all the books there.
Yes, just do that, turning it into a more traditional bookstore / coffee house kind of place, because I do miss that environment of being able to grab a book, grab a coffee, sit down, and just peruse. And so I do like to. I love. Jimmy, did you catch the little hidden shout out to the Writer's Stop in the Baseline?
I did.
All right, you want to explain to him what it is?
So basically, it is all the letters from the Writer's Stop sign.
Yeah.
Now on different shelves, but they're in order. But they're, the W might be up on the top left, and the R is kind of down on the bottom right. But if you follow it left to right, all the letters are there for Writer's Stop.
Oh, that's awesome.
So just to kind of follow through on that, the theming, this might help you understand a little better. The theming of the Baseline Tap House is that of like a print house, I want to say. You say something?
It's an old printing press.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, an old printing press. In fact, I want to say it was a printing press that Walt Disney used to use.
Okay.
That he used to go ahead and make the mock-ups of, like, they has like a Fantasyland attraction poster of, I believe it's the one Monster of the Whale, Storybook Land, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So they have various instruments of that you might find in person. So they have typesets everywhere. And so what you see is just letters. Just if you don't pay attention, like if you're just looking in segments, you won't notice it. But when you step back, it's kind of like the Kaiser Soze scene in Usual Suspects, and you see it as a whole, you realize those letters spell out the Writer's Stop. And it was really, really cool the way they did that.
That's pretty neat.
It is. So
See, that would take me to the studios. I want to go see that.
Oh, you'll love it. You'll absolutely love it.
forward to it.
They have charcuterie over there. They have pretzels. They have this nice brick building that just stands out with this beautiful terrace that's lit up at night underneath a tree. It's gorgeous. They had some great beers. I mean, I fell in love. They had a blood orange cider on tap that I got. I'd never had before. And it was like I just wanted to try something obscure. And as soon as I took one sip of it, loved it.
So these are brewed specifically for that brewery? Or
No,
the
you can
place,
find
or?
it like when I got back in, Dorniak's is my go-to stop for like obscure stuff that I find at Disney that I can't find
We got
anywhere
that.
else. Yes, they got that. They had the blood orange cider. It was in bottle form though,
Yeah.
not on tap. Not quite the same taste,
Right.
but still
It is,
very enjoyable.
Florida beers, I believe.
Florida beers? Okay.
I think they're all Florida beers. But the outside is fantastic. There's a bunch of picnic tables out there, basically with umbrellas. Like they said, there's a big tree in the middle that has a table, kind of a table that goes all the way around it,
Yes.
and it's all lit with like strung like Edison lighting.
Yes.
Oh, that's cool.
Now,
It's very, very cool.
when Eli and I went, it rained for a portion of the time while we were there, and that's the one drawback. It's that it's a very small place, and when it rains, that outside area gets eliminated. Everyone files into the main bar itself. Not only just the people who are there, but passerbys that are just looking to get out of the rain, and it gets elbow to elbow in there very quick. It's
Yeah.
not a very large place, but it's a very. There's not too many standalone bars in Disney,
Right.
And so to have this there, I loved it. I absolutely loved it, and I was already prejudiced going into there because I was a huge Writer's Stop fan. So,
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I figure that's going to be bigger than Lafitte's blacksmith shop, right?
oh yeah,
Maybe a couple of those back to back or something like that.
no,
Yeah.
stack them on top of one.
Cool. Yeah. Okay. So I'll go ahead and go to the next one because this one kind of ties into what y'all have been talking about. But and this is probably no surprise to any of the listeners, but one of my favorites at the studios is the carrot cake cookie. Of course. I was going to lump all my food together, but I figure, since that's even in one of our logos, me holding a carrot cake cookie, I mean, I'd be remiss to say, I love that. I love that thing. As sweet as that sucker is, man, I will get one each and every time whenever I make it over to the park.
So now help me out here. Okay, so now that was famous for being sold. Now I had that with you one time. Like I'm not as big of a sweets fan as you are, but when we went to the Writer's Stop, that's where we had the carrot cake cookie.
Yes,
and we had it, and God, the thing was huge. I had a small
was
bite,
immense, yes.
and that was enough. Where do they sell it at now?
Sweet Spells, if I remember correctly.
Oh,
Yes.
really?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, so
okay.
they moved it over there. They didn't get rid of it, so thankfully.
And is it still served like cold, like they did at the Writer's Stop too?
Yeah, it's in the cooler.
Yeah.
Man,
Same
that was the
concept.
best part to me. It was like it was so hot when I had it, and it was just like it just was like a little piece of like cold heaven.
On a
It was so nice.
Cold,
So
cold
nice.
heaven. I like
fluffy
that.
cold heaven.
All right.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely, yeah, no, without a doubt, carrot cake cookies.
And
are
that's the
favorite.
only place on property you can get it. The studios.
That's the only place I know. I haven't been able to find it anywhere else.
Yeah, I've never stumbled across it. But then again, like I said, I'm not a sweets fan, so I necessarily don't go looking for it. But
Which I'm glad. I mean, they can leave it there. I mean, that's if there's one place I know I can find it, it's at the studios. And by God, if I'm there, I'm gonna get one.
That's it's definitely a shareable item too. I don't know if I could eat. I love it, and I don't know if I could eat like one by myself.
Yeah, I tried that.
That was
Very
can be
rich.
done.
It's very big.
Talk about a sugar down, and I
Yeah.
kind of ended my day there. I was just sitting on a bench, like, I probably shouldn't have eaten so much.
I ate the whole thing.
It was so good on my lips going down. Oh my God, it was so tasty. But now I'm paying for it. Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
That was good. But I won't do that again. Yeah, no. That's a tough. That could be a meetup. Eat a whole carrot cake cookie meetup.
No, dude. You do a meetup and you feed. You're like Jesus with the loaves of bread. One carrot cake cookie and you're feeding the masses.
Done the Beverly challenge. On some of our people on the podcast have gone down and done different. I did 15 shots of Beverly on my own, and right now the record's at 20. So I haven't. I've been down since then, but I'm like, I don't know if I can do 21 and feel good about it.
Oh my God, that's a lot.
There's a secret to that.
Yeah,
Just add.
we know the secret.
Yes, just add Jim Beam apple. Goes down smooth, man. You never loved Beverly so much.
Beverly and Beam.
Beverly and Beam. Thank you, Fish Sean Wu. All right, so I'm going to get into my reason why, and this is a huge reason for me why the studios, and I know everybody already knows what I'm going to say anyway, so that's why I might as well just get it out of the way while we're...
Well, it's like me with a carrot cake cookie.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting the obvious ones out of the way. Muppet Vision 3D is quite possibly a perfect attraction in every way. It is my favorite. I got to put it in the top 5, possibly top 3 attractions in all of
Walt
Disney World and Disneyland.
Interesting.
I'll put Disneyland in that as well. It's the last project Jim Henson worked on to completion. I mean, that sucker has, as a huge Muppets fan, to hear the original voices of the Muppet performers, guys who have passed on, and Jim and Richard Hunt and Jerry Nelson, to hear their voices every single time you go into that attraction, to blend. I mean, it's really it's in my mind, and I struggled to think of it. Was there ever a 4D show before there was the Muppets?
I'm trying to think. I think that was the first one.
I mean, I know Michael Jackson, that was 3D, but with 4D.
Right.
A 4D show before there were the Muppets. That's what I'm saying. It's so perfect.
The audience?
Huh?
Honey,
Honey, I Shrunk the Audience?
I think Muppet Vision came first.
I think Muppets was...
I was asking. I wasn't sure. I wasn't 100%.
Yeah, I'm 90% sure Muppet Vision came first. But anyway, so we're taking an attraction there. You're blending this wonderful film with the original Muppet performers. Jim Henson, the Walt Disney of our time, worked on this thing personally. You have 4D effects to go with it. You have live performers and audio animatronics playing. You're sitting in a theater, a faithful recreation of the Muppets theater that blows up around you. It couldn't be any more well done as an attraction. I mean, even the gift shop at the end where you walk out and it's a perfect recreation of the Happiness Hotel, and you have a special appearance in there by the Electric Mayhem. I think Muppet Vision 3D is a damn near perfect attraction. So that is something to where I know, and they've screwed up the courtyard, but the courtyard was one of my favorite places to just go and sit for like 10 minutes and just absorb everything, to hear that instrumental Muppet music playing while sitting in front of that huge fountain with Miss Piggy. And I know they've turned it into a planter. I don't know. I know they're supposed to be turning it back.
No, the fountain's back, I believe.
It is back? Has it come back already?
I believe the fountain's back.
Last time I was there, the fountain was back. So if it's back now, then that makes me even the more happier. I know they messed around with the marquee, and that's completely different. But for the most part, I mean, I really enjoyed just not even being in the attraction as much as just being in that area in general.
I think
the
attraction is so much better since they redid it a few years ago and digitized the film. Mm-hmm. Because it was getting a little funky there toward the end.
Yeah, it was a little grainy. Yeah, it had worn down quite a bit.
Yeah,
it brought it completely back to life, though. I mean, it's like, you get the same experience every time now.
Yeah,
no, that's good.
The sight gags in the queue and everything like that. All that's, oh my god. I mean, I cannot think of a more perfect attraction.
I would tell you, the pre-show is every bit as good as the show.
Absolutely.
Right on the money. Right on the money.
Absolutely.
That's how fine of the line there. Like if you listen to that pre-show, you'll notice there's no Jim Henson characters in there because Jim died right before that pre-show was due to be recorded.
Right.
So if you ever watch it back and you listen to it, and then by the way, right after that pre-show was recorded, you'll notice Richard Hunt's characters, Scooter and everything, they stopped appearing for a while because right after that, then Richard Hunt died. So, I mean, it really is a snapshot in time of this attraction where you had all these brilliant performers working on it. And like I've said, 3 of the 5 are already gone. And they just fired Steve Whitmire, who was the unofficial 6th. And the great thing about that pre-show is that the humor still holds up.
Oh, yeah.
It's still funny.
And it's punny.
Yeah.
Yes.
Very funny.
I mean, even if before you get into the pre-show, all the posters and the key under the mat business, it's just brilliance.
No, the sight gags.
The Hannah Montana with Hannah Montana.
Annette Fulagello.
Yeah.
All that.
Pirates of the Amphibian.
On.
Beaky instead of Wally with Gonzo.
Yep.
It's in to quote Eli, it's kind of like Where's Waldo? There's just so many things to find and look and say, oh, you didn't. And that's the reason why it's so repeatable. You see something different every time you go in there, and it's always a new experience. Even though it's the same show, you always find a little detail here or there that you didn't notice before, and it makes it worth seeing again and again.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And since we're talking about it, Muppet Vision is 3 years older than Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. Muppet Vision
figured
opened in
as much, yeah.
91. Honey, I Shrunk the Audience came online in 94. So,
Yeah.
Awesome.
oh, Lee.
I'll throw this one out there. I think it's pretty obvious, but Tower of Terror.
Yep.
It's not just because it's a thrill ride, but the entire from the moment you walk back into that area, the mood is set, and you're in a whole different world. That it builds up the anticipation of what's going to happen. Is this going to be scary? Am I going to, I don't know if I can handle this, and just every element of it, it builds a whole different. You're taken outside of yourself and outside of Disney even, and you're in a whole different. You're in the Twilight Zone when you go to that area, and it's a fun ride, of course. It's a fun attraction, but just overall theming, I've got to say it's probably one of the best themed attractions in Walt Disney World.
Oh, easily, yeah.
Definitely top 5
say
as far as theming.
I would say it's definitely the best queue in Walt Disney World.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just the fact that I don't have to choose between that one and Rock and Roller Coaster for my fast passes is a plus
Very
too.
true.
Yeah. Unlike some parks.
Yeah. Unlike other parks I could name. No, you're absolutely right. That creepy jazz music, that shining reminiscent music that you hear as you're walking through those overgrown gardens, as you're making your way to the lobby,
The empty fountains, dust everywhere. The music gets me. I love it.
Oh yeah, it's phenomenal. Like I said,
Cast members. I mean, the cast members are
members do a great job.
Well.
Yeah, they definitely help make it.
The lobby is just, man. Does it not set the tone that it feels like you're about ready to check into a hotel, but at the same time you're able to look around and notice like little elements of the series of the Twilight Zone series.
How bad do you want to step over the rope and just kind of go
Yes.
around that lobby and just go look at all the stuff in there?
I want to finish that game.
That's it exactly.
I want to sit and start playing that game, man. Let's see where y'all left off. Let's go.
You've got the suite in Cinderella's castle. There should be a suite at the Tower of Terror.
Sure, why not? You'd have a lot of people fighting over that sucker.
I mean, you can't go to sleep until the park closes, but yeah. I mean, why not? One of the elevator stops could be like your room.
Yeah, there you go.
And so you just wave at the people as they're
I'll
going by.
be getting off here. Thank you. No, but even the gift shop. The gift shop is amazing in the Twilight Zone. I mean, have you ever gone through that thing and really took? I mean, not only does it feel like a real hotel gift shop, they sell items that you would find in a gift shop. There's bathrobes and towels and keys and do not disturb signs. I mean, really perfectly themed elements that they've incorporated into this Twilight Zone motif.
All cool stuff. I love the stuff that's in there.
I would also say, we were talking earlier about rideability and kind of getting stale when we were talking about Dinosaur and Rock and Roller Coaster. Well, this attraction, I think they did such a great service to it a few years ago when they changed it up where the tower basically chooses, and it's completely random on the ride you're going to get. You never know what ride you're going to get.
Yeah. No, that I love that. I love that they do that. And I love that I remember riding that for the first time after the tower took charge. And when you get to the bottom and you see the little swirly thing, and then you start shooting right back up, I'm like, oh, hey, what's going on here?
Well, this is not ending, is it?
This is not what I remember. Okay. All right. We're not done yet, apparently. All right.
That was when my wife decided to stop riding the Tower of Terror.
Oh, really? It psyched her out? And she was like, she wasn't having it?
After that, she was like, nope. Because, I mean, look, there's an element of it, and that's the one downfall of the Tower of Terror, is that, look, the repeatability is not exactly, it's not like you just, that was fun, let's get right back on. It's kind of one of those things to where, depending on how many times you've been dropped, you might need a little minute or two to settle down, depending on your constitution, I suppose. But that is one element of it that not everybody can handle, and I know my wife was not one of them. I was like, before, like, it jerked, and it dropped, and you're like, okay, cool, I had my experience, and then it wouldn't let go. And she was like, nope.
She knew what to expect at first, and now she doesn't.
Yes.
If my wife told me that, I'd be like, okay, so it's cool if I use your fast pass?
Absolutely. There you go.
It's interesting, though, because my wife wouldn't ride it either, but she won't ride any rides like that. She doesn't like that dropping
thing?
So.
Yeah,
she won't. They won't do that
again. Yeah, it's definitely it's a thing. It's not something that is a universal experience for everybody. You have to be okay with being dropped like that, and it's not a pleasurable sensation for most.
Lee, have you considered at least like go through the queue and then exit via the chicken exit, so at least she could?
Yeah, I mean, she wrote it once, but then she's like, okay, I'm good. I don't need to do this again.
But you're cheating yourself. So you've got to go through that fifth dimension without going through the fifth. I mean, that is when.
No, she wrote it. She wrote the whole thing.
No. I'm aware.
That.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, like, that is really when the ride blows your mind. Is when that elevator leaves the shaft and you're going through the fifth dimension.
Yeah.
And you're like, without that element of the ride, it's okay. Fine. You know, and that's what I guess Disneyland had.
Yeah.
Disneyland had it, and they were like, you know what? We can change the theme. And that was my argument. Who were we arguing with before about this? About, whether the Tower of Terror was a better ride than something else. It might have even been Muppets. And I said, look at it like this. You could change the entire theming over in Disneyland and still have a really great ride. You couldn't change the theming of Muppets and still have that great show. There is an element of it when you rely on it just being like a thrill attraction. We're just going to drop you a lot. Then, you need that journey through the fifth dimension to make it something special. And that's what I think our Tower of Terror did that theirs didn't, that made it stand out as being something completely unique.
I'll tell you what, the first time I rode that was one of the things that blew my mind.
Yes.
It's like, okay, I'm in a typical drop. Because, I'm all into ride systems and stuff. It's like, okay, it's a typical drop shoot thing, all right. And then it started going horizontal.
Yes.
And I'm like, what the hell's going on?
This is pre-internet. You're like, why is this happening? This should not logically be happening right now.
Yeah. It was like, how did they do this? It just amazed me.
And by the time you figure it out, they're dropping you again.
Yeah. You're in another shoot, and it's like, what the heck? I love it. I love that attraction. That's on my list, too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It should be on everybody's list.
Yeah, absolutely made my list. All right, cool.
Well, speaking of your list, you're up next.
Me?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so let's see. We already mentioned Rock and Roller Coaster. That was on my list as well.
No, we didn't. We did not mention Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, I thought, okay, we were talking about that for some
We talked about it in terms of comparing it to Dinosaur, but it has not been mentioned as a reason that the Hollywood Studios does not suck. Do you want to?
Well, I'll throw it in there. Yeah, Rock and Roller Coaster. I appreciate having, that's probably maybe the first inverted roller coaster in the U.S. parks.
Yes.
If I remember correctly. And the reason why this attraction I love so is I remember when, Disneyland Paris opened, or your Disney back then, and they got their Space Mountain, and that had an invert. And I'm, me as a little kid, I'm just like, what? I want a roller coaster with an invert. Can we do that here? And then lo and behold, here comes a Rock and Roller Coaster. It had an invert, and I was like, yes. Not only is there an invert, but it's also blacklit. It's in the dark and everything else. Very cool experience. Very disorienting. Technically, that thing's called a Cobra roll thing, right? Well, not necessarily a Cobra roll. It's not a complete Cobra roll because it doesn't go back.
Yeah,
I forget what the term of the coaster term for it is. But
I know.
That with the black and everything else, the flashing lights just completely disoriented me. Where I thought I was going sideways, but I really wasn't. That's it combined that. I like Aerosmith, a good fan of that band. All through my youth, I enjoyed the music part of it. The theming of the queue just, was awesome, with the recording studio thing. And you can hear people recording behind the doors. Thought it was well set up. The pre-show with the band, it was cute. I dug it, especially with the wires in the shape of a Mickey, where they had it coiled out. And then, you just go dump in the back aisle.
You know what else was really cool about that in the past is I remember when I was younger and you rode that when Joe Perry says, so-and-so, can you grab my black Les Paul?
Yes.
And they would have this cast member run out and he would grab the black Les Paul and he would run back in.
Yes. How awesome of a gig would that be? I would love to have had that gig. I would do that all day.
Right.
I'll just sit there and wait for him to tell me what to do. Grab the Les Paul. All right, let's do it again.
So the removal of the shocker symbol has not diminished your enjoyment of this attraction one bit, has it?
Oh, God, that was such a...
Yeah.
He must have got bent out of shape about that.
You see, now I'm going to go on record right now, and this is where Jimmy is going to be right about me, where he's like, before he said you stand on the island alone. I don't think I stand on the island alone in saying Dinosaur is better than Rock and Roller Coaster, I think there'll be some people in that island with me, but where I think I'm going to be pretty alone here is in saying that I don't really care about Rock and Roller Coaster at all. It didn't even make my list.
Yeah.
Wow.
Not a big fan of Rock and Roller Coaster. I've ridden it twice and have been happy to skip it every time ever since.
So usually, if you had to pick one or the other, you usually pick Tower, I guess.
Oh, 9 times out of 10. Like,
So what do you fast pass then? Because you don't like Toy Story.
nope. Hate
You don't
Toy
need
Story.
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Not a big
so
fan.
that leaves Beauty and the Beast and Fantasmic.
I don't fast pass. When I
Just
go to the
don't.
studios, if you've ever noticed as a travel agent, whenever you fast pass the studios for me, I cancel them all. I don't know if you've ever noticed that.
We went together and Danny got a fast pass for Muppets. I'm like, we stood on the left-hand side of the hallway next to 3 people on the right-hand side of the hallway. That was a fast pass.
It's the principle of the matter, man. You got to give them your business to let them know that you appreciate something.
All right, that's cool.
But no, I
didn't really write down Rock and Roller Coaster. Just I think it's kind of not that I hate it or anything. It's just what it is. It's a good roller coaster done by Disney, but and you think about that, the queue itself is not that great. You've got the little show in the middle, which is cool.
I like that queue.
You know, you got to stretch. Maybe better make it a super stretch. Everyone knows all the lines. The actual line itself is kind of cool. You go down like an underground garage. Okay. The roller coaster itself is great, but that's it, really. I mean, it's not very well themed, is a general statement.
The record studio.
It's got a cool, yeah, but I mean, really, is it? It's not.
Yeah. How many people really want to visit a recording studio? I'm kind of with Lee on this one. I get it.
I'm not saying I hate it. I mean, I'm gonna ride it.
I didn't say I hate it either, motherfucker. I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Like, it's not like, oh, I
Trying to
love
agree with
Rock
you, dude,
and Roller Coaster. I love Rock and Roller Coaster. No, I can't really say that I love it. I like roller coasters, so I'm gonna ride it. But it's not like I'm not gonna wait. If I don't have a fast pass, I'm not gonna ride it. I can tell you that.
Look, that's my attitude. Is again, I don't begrudge anybody their love of it. I just don't get it. Like, you know, in terms of like a roller coaster, I think like give me a choice: Big Thunder Mountain or Rock and Roller Coaster. I'm gonna go with Big Thunder Mountain, y'all.
I'll take both.
Yes.
No, you
So
got
much
you.
better.
No. This is would you rather Big Thunder Mountain or Rock and Roller Coaster?
Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, I see. I disagree.
Every time.
Kevin?
If I
trying to
came,
think of
if I happened to cross 10 extra fast passes at anywhere in Disney World, me and my wife would probably ride
Rock and Roller.
Roller times.
Wow. So Rock and Roller Coaster or Expedition Everest?
Whew. Fast pass or standby?
Your choice.
If it was fast pass, I would say Rock and Roller Coaster. If it was standby, I would say Expedition Everest.
There's my sticking point. That's why I'm saying what I'm saying is that Expedition Everest is a roller coaster done the way Disney does it. Rock and Roller Coaster is a roller coaster the way Disney does it. Disney didn't do it as well with Rock and Roller Coaster. They did it right with Expedition Everest.
Oh, and they had a lot of years between the two to do it differently.
No,
I think the coaster is better. I think Rock and Roller Coaster, the coaster is better. I think the theming is better at Expedition Everest. The
100
weight
times.
tends to be more at Rock and Roller Coaster. But if I have a fast pass, I'll do Rock and Roller Coaster. If I don't have a fast pass, I don't mind necessarily. Usually the line's not too terrible at Expedition Everest, and I don't mind waiting in that queue because it's a great queue.
That is a great queue. But point in case, just for y'all to know, I brought this up in the last show, but both were built by Vekoma roller coasters. So same kind of coaster style, everything else.
Okay.
Yeah.
And there's no Disco Yeti in Rock and Roller Coaster.
That is true. There's
true.
There's a lot of disco, everything else, but
Yeah, I was gonna say pretty much everything is blacklit neon club level effects.
Should add a Yeti with a strobe light.
we should combine the two.
Why not?
Rock and Expedition Ever. Oh, why don't we? Disney, why aren't you doing this? Wait a minute.
No, look, I want get the Yeti out of Expedition Everest. I want a Steven
big Steven
Tyler. That's scarier than any. My God, did you see him in that Super Bowl commercial? I didn't even recognize. Anyway, well, okay. Let me ask Jimmy one more question. I think I know what his answer is going to be. But okay, so Rock and Roller Coaster or Spaceship? I'm sorry, Space Mountain.
Space Mountain.
Oh, so this one's hard?
Well, you got two different things going on. Rock and Roller Coaster is a much better ride than Space Mountain. Space Mountain holds a lot of nostalgia. 1986 first trip to Disney. So,
I mean, to your credit, they're two different styles of coasters, so it's okay.
Yeah. Well, so the thing is that, okay, if you're going down to Disney, you can only ride one. It would probably be Space Mountain.
Mm-hmm.
If the question was, hey, you're down there and you could ride one of them once and the other one 5 times, I'm going to ride Space Mountain once, and I'm going to ride Rock and Roller Coaster 5 times. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah.
You're saying that you enjoy Rock and Roller Coaster more, but you feel married to Space Mountain.
There's certainly a connection there, and there's more of an experience for me personally with Space Mountain, just the queue and walking through and the smells and all that stuff. There's some deep nostalgia there that I quite enjoy, and but I don't have that same nostalgia for Rock and Roller Coaster, but the ride's more fun.
Okay, so what I'm hearing from you is that Rock and Roller Coaster is the gold standard of roller coasters in Disney World.
I would say it's the best. Yeah, I would say it's the best roller coaster in Disney World.
Okay,
Yeah.
Kev,
What's that?
what do you think? Rock and Roller Coaster, best roller coaster in Disney World?
That's a tough question.
I mean, I see where you're coming from. If you just stripped it down and put both those rides in Six Flags, put Everest in Six Flags, put Space Mountain in Six Flags, then Rock and Roller Coaster wins.
I like your thinking, Lastavika. That is it's very well done.
If you take away the mountain, if you put Space Mountain outside, not in the dark, if you take Dinosaur and put a carny cranking it out on the side, telling everyone to buckle their little seatbelts and stuff, then yeah, it's
What? Small hands.
yeah. So yeah, then if it's you're just talking about the metal and the loops and
Yes.
the cart you sit in, then Rock and Roller Coaster is going to win.
That's what you're breaking it down to at that point in time. It's just like I said before. So basically what you're saying that, I feel like if you close your eyes on Rock and Roller Coaster, like Aerosmith said, you ain't going to miss a thing. So I think it's kind of because there's not a whole lot to see there. Then at that point in time, it's just about rideability. And
the coaster experience on Rock and Roller Coasters,
right?
it probably supersedes a lot of the other coasters that they have.
Exactly.
I mean, granted, Expedition Everest, it's a similar ride system.
Well, that's why there's no wrong answers. It's all about what do you prefer. Me, I prefer to see some stuff. Like, I'm not into needing to be whipped around and inverted and all. I'm not into that. Give me something unique. Give me something different. Give me, an animatronic. Give me a story element.
Yeah, to me, like Big Thunder is fun.
I love Big Thunder.
Yeah.
Don't reduce me down to that, though. I just want to go be whipped around, flipped upside down, and all that, and then go see some stuff.
It's like you want to get your Six Flags thrill, and then. Sure. All right, now I'll culture myself a little bit, I suppose.
I love I mean, the name of our podcast is the Disney Nerds Podcast. I love, getting like into the details nerdy.
Yeah.
Earlier you were talking about MGM Studios. You were talking Back to Neverland.
Yeah.
On our podcast, we interviewed Jerry Reese, who directed that.
Oh, get out of here.
Nice.
We directed Robin Williams and Walter Cronkite, and along with, he directed more theme park attractions in Disney than anybody else. But that's kind of like the nerdy details. But it's the people who enjoy that type of stuff are probably far and few between. I mean, I'm sure you guys do.
Yes.
But, some of that stuff that we do like that we love and we like freaking nerd out over, I think falls deaf on some of our listeners because they're more of the casual theme park fans and they don't want to dig down in the details, if that makes sense.
Let me ask you this. You talked about that film. I did have a bit of a question as it pertains to that film that maybe you might know the answer to, having interviewed this man. All right, so I watched that film not too long ago, just because, again, I'm a huge fan of that attraction. And every once in a while, I'll go back and look at old stuff like that. But if you watch that film, and Jimmy will probably know where I'm going before I even get there, there's a point where Robin Williams first meets Walter Cronkite. And Robin Williams is wearing an outfit.
You going to Aladdin?
Yep. Robin Williams is wearing the exact same outfit. If you watch Aladdin, the genie from Aladdin is wearing that outfit.
Yep, that's an homage.
But here's the thing. I want to say that film was circa 89, 90, and Aladdin didn't come out till like 92, so which came first?
No. Aladdin was an homage because Robin played that role too.
Right.
That homage to Back to Neverland. And I think it was because some of the same people had worked on it.
And that would make sense. And that's what I would figure. But
that was years ago. So he did talk about that. He told us about that, and I never put it together until he told us about it. He's also the guy that directed The Brave Little Toaster.
Oh, so he came on after Lasseter?
Well, Brave Little Toaster wasn't originally a Disney film, I don't think.
I could be wrong on that. I thought that Lasseter started it off, and then they canned him, and then they brought somebody else in, and that would have been, I guess, Jerry Reese.
It could be. That very well could be. And the interview was a couple of years ago we did that. But he also he did the 50 years of he directed the 50 Years of Magic in Disneyland with Steve Martin. He directed Alien, the pre-show to Dinosaur, all those rides he was involved in. Very cool.
He directed Claire Huxtable. We have to talk to him, man.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Go listen to the interview, and I'll be glad to. I mean, I chat with him every now and then. I'd be happy to shoot you guys, connect you guys. If he's got time, he's usually very, very willing to do an interview.
Oh, sure, man. Well, thanks, dude. I appreciate that. Man, that'd be awesome. I'd love to talk to him. Because, that's always been my thought process, because I always figured that the Back to Neverland film came first, but you always hear people talking about these animated films. I mean, with all the hand-drawn cells of animation could take 5-6 years before they see the light of day. So I never really understood which one came first. Were they already shooting Aladdin? So they said, here, Robin, wear this? Or did Robin wear that? And they were like, okay, so let's draw that into Aladdin. So I'm happy to finally have an answer to that.
I thought very deeply about going to dress like that for one of our Disney Nerds podcast meetups in the parks. But
nice.
I wouldn't think anybody would get it.
Just do it, man.
I was going to say.
Yeah.
Flash bulb hanging around my neck.
You've got enough people. I mean, I marked out when I went to Mickey's Not So Scary, and I saw a guy dressed as the dude standing on the keg of dynamite in the Haunted Mansion stretching portrait.
Right.
I was like, what the hell? Oh my God, that is the most brilliant costume I've ever seen, until I went about 10 feet and saw another guy dressed in the exact same costume and been like, man.
You're like, man, this played out.
One of y'all need to go home and change.
Exactly. There's enough of them out there. Yeah, they would have definitely known where that came from.
I have the parasol girl tattooed on my back of my calf.
Oh, get out of here.
Oh, yep.
Framed and hanging in my living room right now is the stretching portraits right over our fireplace, and my wife keeps threatening to find a new piece of artwork to replace it.
Tell her no.
All right, so we should probably let Lee go next, right? Because I think we let Jimmy.
Jimmy went first, and then
that was where I went wrong. We skipped Jimmy. My bad. So we got to go back to Jimmy.
Yeah, we'll go back to Jimmy. All right, Jimmy, what you got?
Nothing. That's what he's got. Nothing. That's it. He's got Rock and Roller Coaster. That's all he's got.
Out of fuel.
Let me tell you something. I learned about the show like 30 minutes before we started.
Hey, I only got you by like a couple hours. So, even though I knew about it, I just started working on it about 3:00. So.
Yeah, that's a great way to promote yourself, vacation planner. Hey, I'll work on your at the last minute too.
As long as those fast passes is done on time, that's all. They don't know the difference.
No. Jimmy was thrown. This is a Kobayashi Maru to come up with legit reasons why the studios is something that in its current state, not in what it will be, not in what it was, in its current state, why it doesn't suck is it's tough.
Star Tours.
Star Tours.
That's on my
okay.
list. Yep.
Star Tours is completely adaptable. They can change it with the times. They added crate the last time. And so that's something that can evolve with the times. It's still a fun ride every time. The queue is amazing. With R2 and C3.
That's one of the notes I made is that if I don't have a fast pass, I'm good. I'll wait in the line. It's not a problem. That's one of the
just
notes.
watch R2 and 3PO just interact. I could sit there and do that all day.
Oh God, that is amazing. But having said that, here again, this is where before, if I was on an island with Rock and Roller Coaster, I am on the smallest. I'm on an even smaller. I'm on an atoll. I'm on an atoll somewhere out there.
Don't do it.
I gotta do it, man. I'm sorry.
Frozen Emperor or something.
Huh?
Talk bad about them removing Maelstrom or something. Don't go against.
Dude, put me on the ice floe like I'm a Viking. Put me on the ice floe and set me out to sea on this. That's how far alone I'm going to be in this. Star Tours, it's beautiful. I love the queue. I could watch C-3PO and R2-D2 interact all day. I get on the ride itself. I don't do well in simulators. I've said it a gazillion times. They get me right up to the point where I'm like, I'm going to be sick. And then they finally stop it, and I get out of there right at enough time. I can't handle simulators well, and this is why I'm not a big simulator fan in the park. It's just I have that motion sickness thing. So that's why. It's not because I hate on Star Wars. In case you thought that's where I was going to go with it. So because of that, I've never been a big Star Tours fan.
So if the ride system was different, you might be okay.
Oh my God, it's not that I hate Star. I'm going to love going to go see the new
Galaxy's Edge,
the First Order ride that you're going to get. I'm going to love seeing all that stuff. Has nothing to do with Star Wars. It just has to do with that ride system and the fact that. Go ahead.
I get it. I completely get it. My wife can't ride it. My wife can't ride Mission Space. So look, I get it.
Yeah.
There we go. I was worried about people being like, oh my God, you're hating on Star Wars. No, nothing to do with that.
It's just a ride system. Yeah.
That's why Star Tours did not make. It's one of the few things that did not make my list.
I love the gift shop for me. Tatooine Traders.
Oh, Tatooine Traders is brilliant.
Tatooine Traders. It's on my list. It's
one of the worst things about it is it's so damn busy. You can't.
Yes.
It's hard. It's hard to browse
small,
in there because it's hard to browse in there because there's so many people flowing in and out, mostly out of it because of the rides.
Yeah, and that's my one issue with it. It's so crowded.
It is.
I was lucky enough to go there when it wasn't busy and there wasn't that many people dumping out of the ride. So I actually got a chance to hang out in the shop, and it's just an amazing shop.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
If I had all the money in the world, I'd buy everything. And then they restock, and then I'd go back and buy it some more.
Tried hard for a lightsaber, and my wife's like, and usually I can get her to give, but like one of the $150 Hasbro, the real metal lightsabers, I was shooting for it, man, and she's like, I don't know, that's kind of a lot of money to. So I'm like,
dude, you could stow away on one of our trips, man, and we're enablers, so yeah,
we definitely are,
and then we'll definitely buy this lightsabers with you.
And that's what I needed. I didn't look. It's not like she tells me what to buy, what not to buy, but I felt like I needed like a support because it's a lot of money for a lightsaber.
Yeah,
so I'm like, I needed somebody who's like, yeah, you should get that.
Yeah, but how badass is that?
Yes. Yeah, do it. But
look, you just need to get the one with it that vibrates, and then it'd be like, "That's cool, man. Bring that home. That's all good."
Jimmy, when I bought that that Haunted Mansion stretching portrait painting for the print, I should say,
that beautiful piece of artwork,
for the front, it was about a $350 piece of artwork. And as we're sitting there talking, the way it worked out is my wife, she had to get over to, she was going to, what's the name of that place where they sell the Kate Spade? She was going over to the Kate Spade store, and as we're doing that, I was like, well, I'll keep my daughter with me. And I look up there, and I see the coming attractions poster for the Haunted Mansion. And, of course, being my favorite ride, I turned to my daughter and said, Lily, look, what do you think of that? I like it, Daddy. It's like, yeah, Daddy should get that too, right? Uh-huh. Okay, let me get that. And that's how I ended up with both things. I came back to my wife and said, sweetie, it's about a $650 bill charged to our credit card, and she's like, okay, it's fine, because I just spent about $1,000 at the Kate Spade store. So if you get her in a store that she likes, and you get you in a store that you like, nothing but harmony comes from being in debt together.
Especially when her purse is a lot more expensive than your poster.
Yes.
Two posters combined.
She could not fuss at me after that.
I bought her one of the Dunienbergs while we were there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just ordered another. Our anniversary is later this month, so I just ordered another one that I just gave her. But so yeah, I got a little leeway right now, so maybe I'll order on.
You're getting those political bucks happening, man.
That's right.
Yeah.
Get it before they stop making it, and it costs triple that amount. And you're looking at it in 5 years online, like, why didn't I get it when I wanted to?
Yeah, you're right.
That's the scary part. Yeah. They may stop at any point, but yeah, no,
that's what Disney does.
Yeah.
That's how they make them collectibles.
Tatooine traders love it. Absolutely love it.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
So I'll go next. Okay. Wow. All right. I'm going to go straight to this one because I'm going to skip my next one because I don't think y'all are going to pick up on what that next one is. But so I'll go into this one before anyone else does. The Hollywood Brown Derby.
Okay. Yep, that's on my list. Okay.
Prior to eating at Tiffin's, I'd say that was probably the best in-park dining in terms of a sit-down restaurant, like
in park. Yeah.
Yes, I've had to date prior to Tiffin's, and I've only eaten at Tiffin's once. I've eaten at the Brown Derby at least 5 or 6 times, and I love the Brown Derby. The food is delicious. The Cobb salad is out of this world. The ahi tuna was perfect. And the dining room is incredible. I mean, you know me. I mean, one of the first things I did when the Saints won the Super Bowl, I drew that caricature portrait of the Saints that I had hanging up in here until it fell down and broke. I love caricatures. I love caricaturing. And the idea of sitting in there with all those caricatures, even if I can only name like half of them, I love that restaurant. You have this nice sunken dining room with these high ceilings and these big ornate booths. The waiters are all in tuxedos. I mean, it is fancy, fine dining within a theme park, and you don't get too many dining restaurants in a theme park that are that good. It's Tiffin's right now and Hollywood Brown Derby, and I'm struggling to think of another one right now. Maybe Monsieur Paul. Monsieur Paul was good, but it didn't have the theming.
I actually had it on my list, too.
Monsieur Paul? Yeah, it was a good restaurant. And it's on one of only 2 places that you can go have and dine with an Imagineer. When Eli and I went and dined with Alex Carruthers, that's where we went. When we went dining with the Imagineer, it was a Hollywood Brown Derby. So to me, it's a must-do. If you're talking about dining in a park, it's a must-do.
Yeah, I actually put just table service in general. You've got Hollywood Brown Derby. Mm-hmm. You got 50s Primetime. You got Mama Melrose.
Yes.
Okay. So already you're ahead of the game. Sci-fi, maybe not the top of of table service restaurants, but the theming double makes up for it.
Totally unique. That's why I put down on my list. That's why I made my list is because of the theming.
It should be, yes.
And Hollywood and Vine is not that bad either. It's pretty solid. And with Hollywood and Vine, you have 2 different character experiences. With Brown Derby, like you said, you got Dine with an Imagineer. Mm-hmm. With 50s Primetime, you got the Tune-In Lounge.
Yeah.
If you just match up, pound for pound, I think Epcot will always be known as the place for food. But considering how big Epcot is and how many countries there are, and then take that compared to Hollywood Studios, and just per capita, if you want to say it that way, I think Hollywood Studios has the best per capita dining options of all the parks.
I wouldn't say Mama Melrose does not get its just due. You're right about that. Mama Melrose is,
and then you've also got the Fantasmic seating if you want to do that.
Yes. Yes.
So there's just a lot of positives on table service in Hollywood Studios.
Absolutely.
I'm a huge fan of Mama Melrose.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a big fan of 50s Primetime, and I think that's just the New Orleans in me or the South Louisiana. I just don't like that middle America, like comfort food, just not my jam. I like something a little more ethnic, spicy.
Make your taste buds jump.
Yeah.
Taste buds jump.
Yeah.
I tell you, I'm a fan of sci-fi for the atmosphere, but also I ate there in October, when we were there in October, and I had a burger there. It was probably one of the best burgers I've had on property. And they make it, and it's exclusive. Like they make their own patty, and it's made with ground chuck brisket, and short rib.
Oh, come on.
Oh, wait, where's that
Stop
at?
it. Sci-fi, right?
Sci-fi?
Ground chuck, ground brisket, and ground short rib combined together. They make a burger patty. This burger I had a fried green tomato on it.
Come on.
Bacon. Dude, it was bad. It was badass.
I must have been on a diet the day we went to that, but I don't remember seeing that
I
because
don't think I got the
that.
burger. I want to get the burger now.
Me and my wife split the appetizer sampler, and we split the burger, and it was really, really good.
For a minute here, I'm going to bond with Jimmy here on the whole idea of 50s primetime. That's one place I've never eaten because, kind of like Jimmy was just saying, I've never been big on the whole idea of the comfort food thing, and I understand that their angle is kind of like that Whispering Canyon thing, which I have been to before, where the waitresses kind of get on you, get your elbows off the table. I've got terrible table manners. My elbows are my elbows are on the table as I'm talking to you right now. I can't not offend a waitress, I'm sure, at the 50s, but I'm not into being fussed at for my, I don't feel like bannering or, being part of the shtick with that. So I've never, but at the same time, what I've heard about it is not enough to make me, the menu and the service is not enough to make me say, oh, yeah, that's something I want to try one day.
Yeah. I mean, I enjoy I don't mind the food there as much. I mean, it's not exemplary, it's not great. But I mean, but it's passable. It's decent. But I mean, just one of the things that was on my list is that is served there, or the Tune-In Lounge, is the peanut butter and jelly shake.
Oh, that's what they're famous for.
Yeah, that's what they're famous for, and I enjoy that shake. I'll go there. I mean, I can just get it at the lounge and be happy and be fine. But yeah, it's for me, all the things that we list as far as restaurants is the theming of it. I mean, it's just it's unique. In the world, as far as the different experiences you can have. I mean, you can sit in a car, you can sit in the dining room, fine dining with a brown derby, that kind of thing. Was similar to the brown derby out in L.A. It's a lot of fun.
Who wants to go next?
I'll go next. Okay,
you go next, Kevin.
So one of the things I really like about the studios is I'm gonna lump all these in is the live entertainment. And by live entertainment, I'm talking about the Citizens of Hollywood, Green Army Men. Even the Voyage of the Little Mermaid, Voyage of the Little Mermaid is an attraction. It's a theater show, but I mean, in essence, it's a puppet show done by live performers on stage. So they're doing all those things. They're making all the characters appear. So just all the different, me being a big proponent of performing arts, I definitely do appreciate the work that they do, and I love that it's all over the park. Yeah. So I just that's one thing that I look forward to when I go there, just seeing all those. Well, number one, those guys having a job, and number two, just seeing the quality of the work that they're putting forth each and every day. I mean, especially the kids doing the Voyage of the Little Mermaid. I mean, that's that show. If you haven't seen it, go see it. But I mean, it's crackerjack timing. We're not talking about lights or projections that just pop up. They're literally flipping painted blacklight reflective paint panels at the right time during the music, especially during the Under the Sea scene. I mean, it's just incredible. And you got all the different effects and stuff in that show. So, yeah, kudos to them, man. Brava to all that. The live entertainment just goes without saying. And the Green Army Men, I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I'll sit there and watch them. Every time I see them in the park, I'll just sit there and watch them. I don't even have to interact with them. I can just sit there and watch them doing their thing.
No, that's what's so great about them is that they free roam. You don't have to sit there and wait in line to go ahead and take a picture with them. You just walk right up to them. But you kind of piggybacking off what you said, I kind of I lumped in the Streetmosphere with Hollywood Boulevard. I kind of put Hollywood Boulevard up there as a reason why the studios doesn't suck.
Yeah, no, that's gorgeous.
Because walking down Hollywood Boulevard, I mean, not only is it probably the second best park entrance with these iconic buildings, you get the Grauman's Chinese Theater at the front, you got the Crossroads sign at the back. But you encounter this is where you encounter the Citizens of Hollywood. They're in the Sunset Boulevard, but I guess as well you encounter them there in front of that old villain shop, which is now the it escapes me. It's changed its name so many times.
That's where the carrot cake cookie is.
Yeah.
Yes, Sweet Smells.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, point being is that the Hollywood Boulevard in and of itself. I mean, because that's where you kind of roam. And you're going to run into those Citizens of Hollywood right out there. And,
they're usually right at those crossroads.
I love watching them do their thing. I absolutely love it. I like live entertainment in the parks.
Yes. Yeah, I do too. Yeah, we established in that show, yeah.
Yeah.
we were there in January and on a short trip and got to catch Jack Diamond just as soon as he walked up and was right in front. There was only me and my family basically there for a few minutes. So he did a few card tricks and stuff like that. And he is, not only is he a great magician, but he's freaking hilarious.
All of them are, though. I mean, if you sit there and let them entertain you, I mean, I was a little distressed, like, because they cut the public works people.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them.
Yeah, I hadn't seen them either.
I haven't seen them in a while. Same with Mulch, Sweat, and Shears, right? They're gone, too.
They're gone, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I mean, you talk about live entertainment, there's so little of it left. And studios used to be one of the places that you could really run into it. So when you
Very prolific, yeah.
Yeah, when you run into it, it's something special.
One story that I fondly remember, there was a guy, a Streetmosphere guy. It might have been the cop, but it just rained in the studios. Okay, and so I'm just sitting there kind of on a bench, just kind of resting. And the sun has come out, and the trees are still kind of dripping and whatnot. And so here comes this guy in a cop outfit. He has a bucket and he has a hammer. And so I kind of see him kind of stroll up. He walks up to the tree. He holds the bucket underneath the tree and very loudly says, "Clear!" and smacks the piss out of the tree, and the water falls in, whatever water falls into his bucket. And then he turns around and goes to the next tree and does the exact same thing. He's doing this all the way up and down Hollywood Boulevard doing this. And people are just kind of like, just staring at him. I was like, what's he doing? And I'm like, well, he's just getting the water off the tree. That's all he's doing. But yeah, that was one of my favorite Streetmosphere memories, man, was just seeing that guy doing that, because I didn't know what to expect. If I could just piggyback on, you were talking about Hollywood Boulevard and stuff as far as look, I kind of did Hollywood Boulevard and Sunset Boulevard together, but at night. One of my favorite things about that park is seeing those two areas lit up
at night
with all the colors. Sunset, you got the tower in the background. You get all the different colors with the stores and whatnot. I mean, it's just absolutely gorgeous to me. I just love it. And the little spotlights on the top of the crossroads, with the Mickey up top, just that little accent, just, that's one of my favorite scenes in the parks.
I don't know if you guys are big fans of Starbucks in general, but that one in Hollywood Studios is by far the best themed Starbucks in all of Walt Disney World.
Are you talking about the Trolley Car Cafe?
Trolley.
Oh,
it's pretty, man.
It's gorgeous.
It is gorgeous.
When y'all went to Rock and Roller Coaster, remember, just to know that I'm not fooling around here, Lee, Eli, and Kevin went to Rock and Roller Coaster, and I said, yeah, y'all go. I'm cool here. And I stayed behind. That's where I went, and I enjoyed the hell out of the Trolley Car Cafe. It is beautifully themed. Like I said, I'd love to see them put a book section in there to kind of embody a little bit of what the writer's stop used to be.
Yeah.
I mean, you wouldn't even realize it was a Starbucks unless you read the sign.
Right,
I mean, it's so, the building itself is just so pretty.
It is.
And you go inside and it's just like, I could hang out here for hours.
There's all great props inside. If you look up above where the servers are and all, there's all kind of stuff in there. It's great.
Speaking of which, okay, so I'm going to piggyback off of what Jimmy just said as one of my reasons why the studios doesn't suck. And this ties into what Jimmy was just talking about with the Trolley Car Cafe. And I'm sure Jimmy will probably know where I'm going before I even get there. But one of my favorite movies as a kid growing up was Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm. And that was something that when you went to the studios in its younger years, it was everywhere. They had a recreation of the Acme warehouse. They had the dip machine. They had the Weasel's car. You got to see so much. And I just cannot emphasize for those who weren't around at how big of a film Who Framed Roger Rabbit was at the time. So I was a huge fan of Who Framed Roger Rabbit. And one thing that I love about going to the studios is still spotting to this day all the Who Framed Roger Rabbit references all around the park. And one of them, you go by Echo Lake, you can see the Maroon Studios billboard. That's a pretty obvious one. Also, like up above Hollywood and Vine, you'll see the Valiant Detective Agencies, which is one of my favorites because you'll see the Valiant Detective Agency up there, along with the silhouette from Roger. I remember in the film when Roger jumped out the window and he leaves this Roger-shaped hole through the blinds and through the window. And so if you look up there, you'll see that silhouette is still up there from when he crashed through the window up in the Valiant Detective Agency. And then if you go over to the trolley car to the cafe, you'll see up above it is the The Pacific Electric sign. And Pacific Electric was the name of the company that owned what they called the red cars over in Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm. And you were supposed to get a red car attraction when Roger was supposed to have his own land over there where you'd ride the trolley car. Because trolley, again, that was a big theme in Who Framed Roger Rabbit. Mm-hmm. That was a whole end scene was that they were trying to, it was all about the freeway. And they were going to be phasing out the whole trolley car, so that they put the Pacific Electric sign on the Trolley Car Cafe just helps to reference it back into Roger Rabbit even that much more. And then the last one, like the coup de grace of Roger Rabbit references within the Hollywood studios, is if you go to the Backlot Express, you'll find the original Benny the Cab back there. Yeah. Except you'll never recognize it because it looks nothing like Benny the Cab. But it was a gimmick that Bob Hoskins rode and pretended to drive. There was actually a guy behind him to his lower right that was actually driving Benny the Cab, and then the animators drew Benny over that little get up, and that is on proud display over at the Backlot Express. You can go ahead and visit it. So that is another one of my reasons why the studios doesn't suck. It's because of all the Roger Rabbit references that still to this day survive that park. Yeah.
And it's all like tongue in cheek. Like,
yes,
they want to show you that it's there, the people that would look for it, but they didn't want it so obvious that there was a true connection.
Right. If you didn't know anything about it, you wouldn't even know what you were looking at. Even if you're looking at a big silhouette of a rabbit crash through a window, one floor up on the Hollywood and Vine, you'd have to know who Eddie Valiant was in order to make the connection that was from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yep, I agree.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Awesome. Jimmy, you got one?
I'm gonna say the Beauty and the Beast live on stage.
Okay.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Didn't make my list, but that's good. No, that's a good show.
I think it's a fantastic performance. Look, it's not something I need to see every time, but it's pretty much close to a Broadway level performance. I think for the casual visitor who goes once a year, or once every 2 years, I think I don't know if it's a must do every time, but it's definitely a good show.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, that's definitely a top quality show, I think. Mm-hmm. Honestly, it didn't make my list, but I could put that in there with the live entertainment because there are live actors and everything else doing that. But yeah, no, that's a good show. It's been around for a while too. It's been down there since before Phantasmic came online too.
Yeah, I've only seen it once.
Yeah. I was going to say the same thing. I saw it one time also, and I didn't need to see it again. But am I remembering correctly that the seats were really uncomfortable, like a cement bench type seating?
Yeah, they're bleacher kind of things without backs. Yeah.
Are they bleachers? So they're like metal bleachers, or they're
metal bleachers?
Mm-hmm. Okay, I couldn't remember. I just remember it being kind of uncomfortable, like sitting there for that amount of time.
So you think that's what separates a show like that? That's a pretty darn good show. This is my favorite, and this is a little off topic, but my favorite show in Walt Disney World is Finding Nemo the musical. Okay. Or do you think that separates those shows because Beauty and the Beast is in an amphitheater in Florida and it's hot as hell, where Nemo's in a big air-conditioned building?
I think it does because with Nemo inside the air-conditioned building, they have a lot more allowances for effects and things they want to pull off. Versus the amphitheater, kind of limited because the things that they can pull off. I mean, they're limited about what they can do to pull off because of the restraints with weather and the fact that they're outside and the temperature and everything else like that. Whereas you have more of a controlled environment in the theater with Finding Nemo.
Well, right.
And just clarity standpoint, like, you know what? If it's 100 degrees outside, I may not want to go sit in the amphitheater and watch Beauty and the Beast. Yeah. But I'd probably be happy to go inside and watch Finding Nemo.
Oh, right, right. Yeah.
I think what separates it too, it's not just the weather. I mean, that's obviously a huge part of it, but it's more like what you were talking about, Kevin, with the special effects, like the puppetry that you get to see, like the intricacies of the puppets that you get to see used on stage with Finding Nemo as compared to characters in costume. It's basically what you get over at Beauty and the Beast. So I would say, I would put Finding Nemo above, even if it wasn't for the outside weather. I'd still put Finding Nemo, I think, above if we're just talking about the show elements itself.
Show elements, the seating environment. Mm-hmm. The comfortableness of the theater, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so another thing that I like about the studios.
Okay.
Going back to Indiana Jones, I'm going to throw this one out there. One of my
Stunt
favorite
show?
things- Yeah, the stunt show, but not the stunt show. Right outside the stunt show, you have that little sign that says "Don't pull rope."
Ah, yes.
Every time I go to that park, I pull rope. You know,
And that is not any kind of sexual innuendo whatsoever.
none
right?
whatsoever. No, I ignore the sign and I go for it, and sometimes it works.
Well, they have not crossed off.
Yeah, they have not crossed. That's true.
So it says
That's
"do
true.
pull the rope."
And sometimes the sound effect works, and sometimes it doesn't. But still, I'm going to pull it with the hopes that it's going to work.
It is a little aged.
Yeah,
Sometimes you really have to yank on the rope.
yeah. Sometimes you really got to pull it hard.
You got to tug that rope.
Yes, but no, that's one of my neat little details of that park. Is that
All right, so I'm going to go with a different approach to that, Kevin. I'm going to go with the fact that one of the reasons that the studios doesn't suck is because it was Walt's idea.
yeah?
The whole studios that you're looking at right now was originally a Walt Disney idea. This is what Walt wanted. Walt Disney's very first idea for a theme park was a tour of his Burbank studios with attractions included in it. That's what he wanted to build originally, and his ideas got to be so much where they realized they needed a bigger piece of land to make it happen. But that was originally what Walt wanted. Walt knew that the public had an interest in how these films, these movies were made. What was the process? How did they come from page to screen? And Walt had designs on making his studio into a theme park. That's what he wanted to do. And just that Disneyland outgrew his ideas. So anytime somebody says, the Hollywood studios, that's a stupid thing to do, Universal already does it. Well, no, Walt thought of it first.
Yep. Yeah. No, I like it. Jimmy, you got one?
Pizza Rizzo.
The former Pizza Planet. I never got to eat there. We tried to eat there, but they closed on us.
Pizza Planet?
Yes, the
Or
former
Pizza Rizzo? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that kind of sucks about it. It does close at 4:00.
Yes.
But there's not a whole lot going on back there. I mean, it's only Muppet Vision and Mama Melrose. That's the only things back there now.
But how is the pizza? I've heard it sucked.
I thought it was okay. I mean, it's standard Disney pizza, but I got a meatball sub there that was great, and and the theming is pretty darn good.
Yeah, I would believe that.
So I mean, I think it's more about the atmosphere than the food. I think it's standard Disney individual pizzas, which to me wasn't terrible, but it didn't light the world on fire either. But you're definitely going there for the atmosphere, not the food.
Good to know. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's always been weird to me how they went ahead and they named their restaurant Pizza Rizzo after a character that Steve Whitmire made famous, and then went ahead and fired Steve Whitmire. I want to say either right around the time it opened or right before it opened was about when they canned Steve Whitmire as the voice of Kermit.
Huh.
Because Steve Whitmire is the person who embodied that was Rizzo the Rat. Steve Whitmire, when Jim Henson was still alive, that's what he was famous for doing, was voicing Rizzo the Rat. And so I kind of thought, like, oh, Pizza Rizzo, they're giving Steve a little love in the studios, and then not too long later, I want to say it was afterwards they fired him. But
maybe Steve didn't want the pizza shop.
yeah, maybe Steve complained about the pizza. Who knows?
Something like that. He wanted a charcuterie shop or something. A little bit of cheese. Yeah, stuff like that. Cool. All right. So I'm kind of rounding out my list. I'm gonna throw one out there, and I'm just gonna say the background music in general throughout that park.
Oh, they do have some great music.
I love, you're strolling down, like even when, how seamlessly it transitions from where you're going. And yeah, Disney does that in all the parks, but man, it really works well, I think, in that park. Like going down Sunset, you're going down Hollywood Boulevard, you're going in the Star Tours area. As you're approaching Tower of Terror, you make the left going to Rock and Roller Coaster. I mean, the soundscape is just, I love it. My ear gravitates to it. It makes me happy.
No,
I love hearing it. I could just stroll there. Like there's sometimes, I'll do the Late Show Fantasmic, and then by the time we get out, it's like the park's pretty much closed, and so you're just kind of leisurely strolling towards the exit, and you're just hearing the music still playing, with the lights. That's one of my favorite experiences for that park.
No,
Background
absolutely.
music,
Have you been in a position where you could hear both? Because I can't think of ever a time that I have.
yeah. In that park, no.
Like when you're making the turn from Hollywood Studios going over from Tower Terror area to Rock and Roller Coaster, is there ever a point where you could hear out your left ear kind of the Aerosmith music and out your right ear kind of that 40s jazz? Or I don't think I've ever heard both. Like, is there any point that you can stand and kind of almost hear both?
I can't say I've ever experienced that
Yeah,
at all.
pops
Not
in my
even
head.
turning on to Sunset, not even going towards that fork of either Rock and Roller Coaster or Tower Terror. I mean, they've got those speakers aimed in such a manner that's like it just switches.
It's the same thing as most parks. When you transition from land to land, like you don't even notice it right away. Like I barely ever notice it. Oh my God, the music's changed or anything. Like it's kind of something that you kind of pick up on afterwards.
I wonder if that's just like a human brain condition, or if that's like obviously there must be some type of buffer where there's no sound at all.
Mm-hmm.
But I wonder if it fades in as you walk closer to the land, where it's softer when you first get to that transition, and then kind of the volume picks up as you walk in.
I think that makes the most sense.
I mean, it's definitely possible because I know like in the Sanger, when those Broadway shows come through, I mean, those speakers are the different speakers that they have located are firing at different rates, so that the sound for the people at the very top of the balcony is arriving at the same time as the people that are sitting right in front of the stage. So that technology is there to where you can time it. So I've got to imagine they've got it to where they can aim the speakers in a certain way to where you don't hear both at the same time unless you go one way or the other, and thus creating somewhat of a buffer zone. Well, do we have any other things we want to add to the list, or any honorable mentions, or anything else that we left off that we
I
haven't
got
mentioned?
one more.
Yeah?
Go ahead.
I'm gonna let you go, and then and I'll tell you mine.
Okay.
All right.
Unless you take mine.
Okay. No, I doubt I'm going to take yours because this is more of a personal matter for me. To me, and this might just be a personal thing. I'm sure people can look at this and kind of poke holes in it. But to me, the reason the studios doesn't suck is because it's kind of a monument to the Eisner years. You know, when Michael Eisner took over that park, I mean, that was the promise of the Disney decade that came along with it, where you got the water parks. Hollywood Studios came first, but not too far afterwards. You got Pleasure Island, you got Splash Mountain, you got Alien Encounter, Indiana Jones. He started making deals with Jim Henson and George Lucas. You got Star Tours coming into the parks. And it all kind of started with Michael Eisner's Hollywood connections, because that's what he was a Hollywood guy. He came from
Paramount. Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go, right off the bat. So it was his influence that kind of led to this resurgence in Disney, which saw, The Little Mermaid and Aladdin and Beauty and the Beast and Lion King and all that stuff. So when I look at the Hollywood studios, still to this day, Michael Eisner's handprints are all over that thing. And
Do you know that kind of happened?
Huh?
The reason he did it is because, and this is more of the corporate side, which most people don't look at, is that Disney before that was severely undervalued, and it was ripe for the picking for a hostile takeover.
Right.
When Michael Eisner went in there, he expanded it and raised prices and did all kind of crazy things to make it, to run its value up. And that's what kept it from being hostily taken over by another company. And people wonder why they do that type of stuff. Like, oh, why is Disney buying Fox? Well, because there was rumors that Apple was going to try and buy Disney.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Because if he goes buy Fox, it runs their value up. It makes it much tougher for somebody like Apple to buy Disney. So that's part of the reason it was done, is to keep and I think that's where the connection between Roy Disney and Michael Eisner, I think that's why they were so close, because Michael Eisner was the business guy, and Roy wanted to keep it Disney and not let it just get bought up.
Well, up until Roy tried to throw Michael out, but it's a different story.
That came down to not just Roy and Michael, but Jeffrey Katzenberg, and that was a big debacle. But that happened later.
Yeah.
The relationship was very good in the beginning, and actually it was Roy and Michael, and then Katzenberg was kind of on the outside.
Well,
he did things too.
And that's what I was trying to point to with this, is that's what this represented to me. Is like, I can't remember when Eisner came along. I wanted to say it was like 85 or something like that. But it was really with the opening of the studios that all of a sudden, like, you kind of saw Michael Eisner's first really big legacy being left with the Disney company of starting to broker these deals and starting to bring in outside elements into the park, bring in Indiana Jones, bring in the Muppets, bring in Star Wars. All that started with Michael Eisner. Up until then, it was purely Disney. Everything that was in a Disney park was something that Disney had owned and created, and that's what I find so remarkable about what Michael Eisner achieved. And I know he's a controversial figure because, he has his good and his bad. And Lord knows, Lord knows that he didn't finish out. That Disney decade never quite materialized. And I think a lot of people point to the death of Frank Wells and a lot of other outer factors. You can go pick up Disney War and it's all spelled out there. But there's a lot of factors as to why the whole thing went wrong. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Jimmy.
Watch Waking, Sleeping Beauty.
Oh, yeah. There's another one.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's another one for you. Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, a lot of people forget that there was a heyday of Disney that was brought about by Michael Eisner, and we got a lot of great attractions out of that.
Got great movies. A lot of good stuff.
A lot of good things happened at first. I mean, it's like a divorce. I mean, you remember all the bad times, but at the very beginning, there was a lot of good times. And I prefer to remember like what Michael Eisner did to help bring Disney back to the forefront.
Yeah. I mean, we grew up during those times,
Right.
People criticize Bob Iger, and you talk about Michael Eisner making all these relationships and bringing all these partnerships into the park, and then Bob Iger comes along and says, you know what, let's just buy them all, basically is what he did. So he took all those partnerships that Michael Eisner laid out, that they had the groundwork for, and you got these partnerships, and he just went and bought those companies. So Pixar and Lucasfilms and Marvel, and now Fox. And so it's like, God, it's amazing. And I can't tell you how great of a documentary Waking Sleeping Beauty is. And I think it's so great because it's not something that it's not like a book or a movie that looks back. Mm-hmm. It was made during the time.
Yeah, they had actual footage from the times. It was funny.
It was right in the middle of it all. It's not like something that said, hey, look at this is what happened. No, there's video of exactly what happened when it happened.
I want to say, like earlier when we were talking about the magic of Disney animation closing, I want to say that's covered in the film when animation pulled out of Orlando.
I believe it is. I believe you're right.
Yeah, when the studio stopped. Look, the magic of Disney animation existed long after the magic was gone.
Right.
And they changed it into the show with Mushu, and then it became like an interactive exhibit afterwards where you created and it was a dumbed down version of what it originally turned out to be until it was nothing like it used to be. But yeah, that's also covered in the film. Waking Sleeping Beauty is a magnificent film, and it's powerful. I mean, the relationship, I'd love to have a different discussion at some point in time, because we haven't heard when Bob Iger's going to be stepping down. Rumor was it was supposed to be coming up soon, but maybe not so much anymore. But I'd like to
acquisition. He extends. He said he's going to stay a little longer.
Yeah, good for him.
Finish out what he started. Yeah, that makes sense.
No, I'd like to get into that at a later discussion, and because we could certainly do it now, but I think it deserves to be talked about later. Is Bob Iger, how Bob Iger's done?
Yeah, the state of Bob Iger's parks.
All Going back to the original topic, I just have one more.
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's my number one.
Okay, I like it.
Reason Hollywood Studios does not suck is the future. And to quote Walt Disney, around here we don't look back. Mm-hmm. We keep forward. So I think that's why it doesn't suck, because right now it's in a terrible state, but I have so much hope. I can't wait to see it in 3 years.
Yeah, I'm glad you said the word hope, Jimmy, because that's one of the things I had written on my list was the word hope. That is line number 14, hope.
Well, Jimmy, rebellions were built on hope.
It's true. That's a very good point. I think that, they started building Avatar Land, like 15 years ago?
Yeah, at least.
And it's what it feels like. It took them forever to do that. So, and I think of me riding Flight of Passage that I will tell you now is the best theme park attraction I've ever ridden in my life. And that technology is at least as old as when they started building that. So if it's advanced at all since then, what Star Wars Land is going to be, it's going to be incredible.
Yeah, we'll find out in a little while.
2019, right?
2019. The future's bright.
The future, well, I don't know about bright, but there's always the future.
Yeah.
You know, I worry about, like, at Toy Story Land, I don't know. Jury's out. Like, I've seen the concept art. I have hope that it'll be good. There's a part of me that worries that it's just going to be a better theme, Chester and Hester. I think I'm going to be. I hope I'm going to be wrong on that, because I don't think that they could possibly do that again. But I also don't see anything that's like, ooh, I'm dying to ride that.
Yeah.
Ooh, that looks like such a great ride. It looks like a kiddie land. We can get into it at a different time. All right, but all right. So let's get into honorable mentions real quick.
All right.
Honorable mention. It does have one of the reasons it doesn't suck is it does have the largest hidden Mickey that any of the parks have in it.
That was one of mine. Yep.
That was one of yours as your honorable mention.
Yep. It's still kind of being seen. Yeah.
It's kind of sorta.
I mean, it's kind of like I guess it's a abstract hidden Mickey now.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
At one time, it was a great hidden Mickey.
It was a beautiful hidden Mickey. Now you got to squint a little bit harder to see it, but it's still there. It's still obvious that was the intent.
A little imagination, but
yes,
it was planned to be there by Imagineers. So I think it still qualifies.
I do too.
Yeah, I would third that. I definitely great honorable mention, because that's something I look forward to. I look on Google Earth and I can see it.
Yes,
you know. But yeah, that's definitely one of my things. One of my honorable mentions is the Jedi Training Academy.
Yes.
Or now, I guess, called the Trials of the Temple.
Yeah.
Kind of deal. I mean, you know, if I was a little kid, I would definitely want to do that.
Very experienced kid.
And none of us brought up the Jedi, what do you call it? Oh my God, the place where you meet Kylo Ren and
the launch bay?
There you go.
Yeah.
Launch bay.
None of us brought up the launch bay either. There's a reason I didn't bring it up, is because that's what took over Magic of Disney Animation. And it's hard for me to let go of that. Even in its lesser years, there was still an Art of Disney store right over there that I love to go to that they took over for it. So that's why I never brought it up. It was just because I remember what used to be there and I liked it better. Having said that, the free roaming Jawas was awesome. So yeah, I'm with you on that. There is an element to that, but I couldn't put it as a reason per se, but it's up there as an honorable mention, sure.
Free roaming Jawas, man.
Free roaming Jawas. Yes, my daughter got to meet a Jawa. Jawas are cool.
Let's see. What any other honorable mentions, guys?
Yes. Pixar Place. And I know that's going to sound hypocritical coming from a guy who does not like Toy Story Mania. Mm-hmm. But I love the recreation that they did. Like, as a Pixar fan, as soon as I would watch Toy Story, Finding Nemo, Bug's Life, even the first Cars over and over and over again. I'd watch the DVD extras. I was a huge Pixar fan.
Yeah.
Ratatouille was one of my favorites. And I knew what the Pixar campus looked like in my head. And to see them, that they've recreated with Pixar Place, like a pretty good recreation of the Pixar campus in Emeryville, California. With Pixar Place, when you see it, it's amazing to walk through. When you walk through the gates with the Pixar sign, and you see the building for Toy Story Mania, and it's loosely based upon the Pixar building.
Yeah.
Hey, what are you coming in to sign off? I thought you said you weren't coming.
No, it's crazy.
Eli just walked in the door.
Well, no one can hear you because you're off mic and you're explaining it to an audience that can't hear you. You might as well get on the microphone.
I would just take the beer.
You can get a beer.
I'm sorry. Y'all want to sign off?
No, he was just Danny was just in the middle of his thing.
I forgot where I was at.
One of my other mentions is what used to be One Man's Dream, now Walt Disney Presents. Because, I mean, all the different artifacts that are in that. I guess, for like
But that's
a better word,
gone too
museum.
now, right?
I thought Walt Disney Presents was still there, wasn't it?
Still there.
Yeah,
It
it's
is,
still there.
okay.
Yeah, they changed it up a little bit. It used to be One Man's Dream. Now
Cool.
they do like previews and stuff in the theater.
Oh, that's right, because they had the preview art for the Toy Story, right?
Yeah, they had Toy
Yeah.
Story Land, the preview art there, and they had even the maquettes of the roller coasters, and they also do movie previews and stuff in that theater as well.
They'll still play One Man's Dream movie sometimes.
Yeah.
If there's no movie that they're promoting there.
Yeah, it's on rotation with a bunch of different stuff, so it's actually kind of cool. But
Yeah, it is.
just to have that a museum like that here, since I can't make it out to the family museum or anything else
Right,
like
right.
that, is I guess I can lump it too. To have something like that here is pretty cool. As well as I'm going to go ahead and say Fantasmic. Yeah, the one at Disneyland's better, you know. But
Yes.
at the same time, the fact that when I go to my park here, I can still kind of see it. You know, maybe not in the same environment as like, you know, the lagoon in Disneyland, which makes a kind of a big difference.
Well, one of the few nighttime shows you can sit down and enjoy.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah,
The
absolutely.
music's fantastic, and I've never been to Disneyland, so I don't know what I'm missing. But the music's fantastic, and it's still probably a good representation.
Oh, Jimmy, you're missing a lot.
Jamie, I'm going to give you recommendations. You gave me awesome recommendations. You got to go to Disneyland.
You're going to go to Disneyland and you're going to be like, what is this Disney World thing? I'm not, what is that?
You can get a direct flight from Moisant all the way to John Wayne.
It's Mecca, dude. If you're a Disney fan, Disneyland is like going to Mecca. You make your 7 circles around Sleeping Beauty's castle. You throw the stones at the Matterhorn. It's an amazing.
I think the only one on our podcast that I like, probably we kind of have a rotating cast, so we get 5 of us, and I think I'm the only one that's never been to Disneyland.
Oh man, yeah,
you got to go.
We can go together, Jimmy. We'll plan a trip together.
Let's do it, bro.
I mean, Toad's out there, man. Toad's still out there.
Toad,
yeah,
Toad.
I mean, I know that's
Matterhorn.
like maybe like the tip of the iceberg right there, but
Rolly had the better Toad down here.
that's true. But I mean, Toad still lives on there versus the one that we lost.
Matterhorn, Pinocchio, Storybook Canal, Hatbox Ghost,
Alice in Wonderland.
Alice in Wonderland. That's another
The
one.
walk around Big Thunder.
Yes.
The fact that you can walk around Big
Dude,
Thunder.
that you can touch the mountain of Big Thunder. Like, it's so close that you can just reach out and touch it. That was such a mind trip. That, wait a minute, I'm that close to Big Thunder Mountain. Are you serious? I can touch Radiator Springs. I mean, oh my God. It's the firehouse where Walt lived. Yeah, no, you got to go. You got to go. The Magic House where Steve Martin worked.
Cool.
Gonna make it
So
happen.
I think we've exhausted all our reasons at the moment, and
I think we have. Eli, do you have a reason why? Is Eli on mic?
he's on mic.
Do you
hold on.
have a reason why? I know you
Wait, hold on a
haven't.
second. Let me get him on mic.
You've been dealing with a family emergency. Everything worked out. But do you have a reason that the studios doesn't suck?
Oh yeah, I had a few. I'm sorry, it was a mess going on there. But you probably have covered most of the reasons.
Right.
I'm
I
guessing.
was gonna say next if you got on.
Yeah,
something.
just go ahead.
Yeah.
Run down your list.
Run down real quick.
Oh yeah, really quick.
One time.
It's a good thing to do
Next.
if you got half a day.
Next.
Also, you can
Next.
see some cool rides,
Next.
and you can walk around and see everything
Next.
in one day. And it's cool to be behind the scenes
Covered.
and see how stuff was looking.
Done.
And they have good beer.
All covered. Okay, thank you for your.
I love to chip in when I can. How you doing?
You got to end with beer.
Yes.
You haven't met him yet, but Jimmy. We have Jimmy Horn on the line from the Disney Nerds podcast. This
Oh.
is Eli from us.
Hey, Jimmy, how you doing, man? Thank you for holding it down for me, man. Appreciate that.
No, I do what I can. Thank you.
So I'm curious to know what the listeners think. Man, definitely get in touch with us, and we're about to tell you how to do that. All right, guys, we hope you enjoyed that discussion about the Hollywood studios. If you want to learn more about the Magic Our Way podcast, magicourway.com is the way to go. There you'll find our social media links, past episodes, and more. You can also get in touch with us through the following ways. You can shoot us an email at show@magicourway.com. You can call or text us at 1-815-MOWICAN. That is 1-815-
MOWicans.
669-4226.
You finished a little early.
I did. It's just a little early. Or you can leave a voicemail via our SpeakPipe widget on our homepage. And of course, we got a couple guys who do things outside of the podcast. First of all, since Eli's here, he can do his own promo. Eli, tell him what you got going on, sir.
Man, you showed up just in time for a cheap plug.
That's me showing up right when it needs to be done. Oh man, I'll make it quick though. As always, just go to www.ivorycomics.com. Check out some artwork. Check out some blogs. Links to this podcast, as always. Facebook.com. Eli H. Ivory, right on there. Project Geisha has own Facebook page. Facebook.com/Project Geisha. Instagram, eivory504. And Twitter, Hancock10166. So I always got a story, and I'm always searching for the glory. So keep supporting the arts, guys. Thank you.
And if you want to travel to Walt Disney World and check out Hollywood Studios to formulate your own opinions about it, you can do so through Lee. Lee, tell them what you got going on.
All right. As always, you can reach me at 413-349-8747. That's 413-Studio Sucks, STDSSUX. Check me out on Facebook at facebook.com/Lastovica Travel. That's LASTOVICA Travel. And you can always email me at lee@magicourway.com. And if you want to get out to the studios now, maybe see a little before and after shot before Toy Story and all that gets in there, we could definitely make that happen. So just give me a call and we'll get you hooked up and booked up with no
Lastovica.
Thank you for coming on, Eli. I couldn't have done it without you.
All the time.
Yeah, I appreciate all that goodwill. Like, here we are trying to do in a show that we are saying, hey, we're not hating on the studios, and then you sign off with studios suck.
Just tanks it.
He said he slid that in, though. It was really smooth, though.
It was.
Like a knife.
Yes. With butter on it.
Like a shank.
And of course, we want to thank Jimmy for coming on the show. Man, Jimmy, let our listeners know what you got going on, sir. How they can find you.
They can check us out at the Disney Nerds Podcast.com, the Disney Nerds Podcast on Facebook, at the Disney Nerds on Twitter, and at the Disney Nerds Podcast on Instagram.
And did we make clear that he is also a New Orleans native?
I don't think we made it clear enough, but yes, he is a local New Orleanian.
Yes.
Who dat? Go Tigers.
There you go. Enough said. That's what other proof do you need right there?
Okay,
What
cool.
other proof do you need? So we're good. But yeah, we'll definitely have those links in our show notes. We definitely appreciate it.
Usually my sign-off on our live stream, and sometimes on the podcast, is Bonne nuit, les gens. Good night, people.
There you go.
Uh-huh.
I like it. I like it. I like it. Well, guys, if you want to support
And a Paw Prud'homme to you too, sir.
And a crawfish.
Justin Wilson
And a Luke Wilson.
and a John Besh. Wait, no. Not
And an
Besh.
Emerald Lagasse to you too.
We'll leave Besh out of that discussion.
Well, what did he do?
A lot.
Oh, no. Another
no.
one?
Yeah.
Thank God I don't follow the news anymore.
But anyway, guys, if you want to support the show as a whole, you can do so through the following ways. You can click on our affiliate links on our website. You can also buy some beignets and support the show that way. You can also represent the Weekend Nation wherever you go by purchasing some clothing from our shop. And also, the easiest way to do it is to leave a rating and review in iTunes or wherever you download the show, whether it is Stitcher, Blueberry, Google Play, etc. And also remember, we are part of the BS Podcast Network, whose motto is, we speak our minds so you don't have to. So be sure to support our partners in podcasting over there. And of course, guys, we thank you for taking the time out of your day to listen to us and making us a part of your Disney fan life. We appreciate you and love hearing from our listeners. All opinions are welcome on the Magic Glory Podcast, so get in touch with us today. So, MOWicans, ladies and gentlemen, we say Kwaherini. My name is Kevin.
And I'm Danny.
Jimmy, go ahead and say your thing.
And this is Jimmy from the Disney Nerds Podcast.
Oh, the other thing, the Boma Illusion.
Yeah, I got you.
Yes, yeah.
Bonne nuit, les gens. Good night, people.
Magic out.
I have every intention of eating those bananas for breakfast, but I still somehow end up with tacos, brisket burgers.
The bare necessities of Mother Nature's recipe.
Hey, guys.
Hey.
You hear that?
Yeah.
Yes.
You know what that is?
Tony Bennett?
It is Tony Bennett.
Oh, man. Italians recognizing Italian.
You know what song
he likes that.
What song is he singing?
Well, the song that Lee couldn't sing when he was trying to do it for the Navigator.
Oh, wow.
Hey, but do you know what I'm listening it on? This is Mad Hatter Radio, which is a online radio station of Disney fan stuff that we have partnered up with, man. How you like that? Partners here on the Gulf Coast, Magic Our Way and Mad Hatter Radio.
Oh, creative buffs on radio stuff.
That's
I like
right.
it.
Yeah, it's good. It's another outlet.
Uh-huh.
You know, it's what's good about it. Yeah, let me tell you what's good. But you hear Tony Bennett, but you could probably hear Bare Necessities done by like a metal group, a heavy metal group. You could probably hear a country version of this.
Oh, wow.
You could probably hear like a funk version, James Brown type of. Give me a Bare Necessities. Get up again. You know?
Hot tub, what you say now? Disney.
That's right. You can hear that all on the station, man. They don't just give you the normal spiels and attraction sounds, but they give you every creative variation that other artists have taken to the standard Disney songs. Like Tony Bennett right here. This little jazzy version of the Bare Necessities. You know.
I'm thinking about Goodfellas right now. I don't know why.
Bada bing, bada boom.
Bada boom.
Bada bing, bada boom. Bada
Go ahead,
boom.
listen to this station, okay? It's good for you. It's good for me. It's going to go ahead. It's going to help you out. It's going to make me out. It's going to be really good. Okay?
Mad Hatter Radio. Bada bing, bada boom. Just do it, huh?